Hello, everyone. This is Kerwin, and welcome to another episode of What's Happening in Travel with Kushro and Kerwin. Kushro is not here today, so it's just me. But today, we're going to be talking about airports, like where to stay in an airport whenever you get bumped, or just if you want to stay by the airport as opposed to going into the city, and how to find it. So, behind me today is I have a picture of the Torshavn Airport in Faroe Islands, and it was a very cold day. So it's everything is all white, and the little tower is out there in the back. I think if I can point on my left side. It must be really hard for weathermen to do this. But so I had written a post in it's on passrider.com on the homepage, and it talks about the 5 most expensive airport hotels. There's probably more than those, but and what I found was there's one in Doha. Now in Doha, you can stay inside the airport. I think they have 2 airport hotels inside the airport. When I went, I was connecting from Houston to Doha and in Doha to Dubai. The the cheaper one was actually completely full, completely booked. And I didn't realize it would be booked. So being the last minute booker that I am, I wanted to book that and I just couldn't. And so it was full. The other one, which is, I think it's a bigger, this is a little more luxurious, I don't know. But that one was going for like 300 and something dollars a night, and which I thought was just ridiculous. And that's actually inside the hotel itself. Now, those are the only two that are inside. There are hotels that are outside, but at the time they had COVID restrictions. And those hotels were by far cheaper. But because I had COVID restrictions, by the time I think I had to do a PCR test to get out, and I probably had to do one to get back in. I don't know, but it was just too much of a hassle to go out and come back in. So what I ended up doing was staying at the lounge, and the lounge was also crowded and at capacity. So I think I had to come back in like an hour, and then I was on a list and they had room for me, and then I was able to go in. Now that lounge does not have any sleeping facilities, so it's just food and chairs, and it's a lot. It's yeah. There's no You can't sleep in that lounge. So just bear that in mind if you're passing through Doha. If you know you're gonna pass through Doha, you know you're gonna need somewhere to sleep, because oftentimes the flights through Doha, the flights will get there like just before midnight, and the next one is not until 8 o'clock in the morning. And so that means you need somewhere to rest your head. You can only walk around the airport so much. The other one that's in there is Singapore. Singapore Changi. They have 4 terminals. Not all the terminals have a sleeping facility, so make sure you check that. And that is also very expensive as well. The other one is TWA Hotel at the JFK Airport, and this one is just ridiculously expensive. It's a whole nostalgia thing, but I think outside of all that, they need to realize that although it's a nostalgic airport, most of the people flying through, they don't really care. They just want somewhere to rest for the night. And who wants to pay 350? I think it's like $350 for per night. And it is outside security, and it's in Terminal 5, which is where JetBlue is located. So it's very strange, but the US airports, apart from, there's a thing called Minute Suites, which if you have a Priority Pass card, you can actually use. They have depending on where they're located, you can get like 3-hour sleep times in them. There's one in Charlotte Douglas Airport. And you go in and it's actually a room, and you can sleep for 3 hours is what they have. And that's covered by your Priority Pass. But for the most part, the US airports have no place for people to rest. I think some of the Amex lounges have like a little sleep pod, kind of. Not really a sleep pod, but that's why you see people sleeping all over the place when you go inside these lounges, because it's not a US thing to have a place for you. And I think all the airports that are gateways, like the LA's, the Miami's, the JFK, the Houston's, um, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Seattle, Portland, Chicago. All those airports should really have somewhere for people to sleep inside the airport. So you'd have to go out through security and all that thing to come back, because some people are just transiting and some people don't have the they can't enter the country per se, but they don't have it. So if you're coming to the US, you're not going to find anywhere to sleep, like pay to sleep in the airports. And if I'm wrong, please let me know, because I don't know. If I can't think of anywhere within the US. Outside the US, this is not the case. I was just in Bahrain, and Bahrain has a facility where you can sleep. Now, this is kind of cool. It's like a little, and Priority Pass covers this as well. It's a 3-hour thing, and it's like like one of those Japanese capsules, which is actually quite cool. And you go in and you can sleep for 3 hours. And they trying to think. I set my alarm to leave for 3 hours, but I'm guessing that if I didn't leave, they would come and get me. But I'd set my alarm to leave after 3 hours. The other one in San Francisco, there's a Hyatt, I think it's a Hyatt Regency, which is at the airport. It's connected to it's not connected, it's like at the international terminal, but the train will take you there. And that one is about $300 or $350 a night. Now, these airports, I mean, it's insane. It's insane that they charge so much for these hotel rooms. And I've looked at the one in San Francisco at different times, and it's always $300 or $350. So what did we have? We had Singapore, Doha, San Francisco, and what was the other one? Let me just check. Thought I had it on my mind, but someone has forgotten. So I'm just looking it up here. The fifth one, or the fourth one, would be, let's see, so we're at the TW Hotel in JFK. And when I had checked it once, it was like 500 and something. We had the Oryx Hotel in Doha. And then we had the Crown Plaza in Singapore. Now this one, it's outside security, but it's still within the airport. So basically you come out, when you arrive, you just go like upstairs and you get the entrance. It's in one of the terminals. This one can be pretty expensive. Now you can use points. I'd use points when I did this one, but this one is really expensive. You're looking at about $230 something a night for rooms. And then it was a transit hotel, which we talked about in Singapore, which is Ambassador Transit Hotels, and the Grand Hyatt in San Francisco, not the Hyatt, not to be confused with Hyatt Regency. So these are the ones that you can really get at the airport. Now, one thing to remember, most airports, if not all airports, have hotel facilities. But it's not all, because the smaller airports don't have anything. It's just the airport and that's it. There are no hotels nearby. You have to go into town. Usually the town is not far away, like maybe 20 minutes to get into the hotel. Like for example, if you go to Kingston, there are no hotels at the airport in Kingston because it's on a little peninsula. The nearest hotel is in downtown. Well, yeah, actually downtown Kingston now have a hotel. I think it's actually a Hilton, and it might actually be more hotels that are downtown Kingston. So that would be the closest hotel you can get to. If you go to Montego Bay, for example, there are no hotels inside the airport, but there are hotels close by. Always think, whatever time you're getting to the hotel, when you try to make the reservation, call and find out. So for example, you may have a hotel that costs $100, right? But then it's a $30 taxi to get there. Whereas you may find another hotel that have like it's $120, but they have a shuttle. And make sure if they have the the shuttle runs 24 hours, because a lot of these hotels will not run 24 hours, even at the big airports. So these are some of the things you need to think about. If you have status with the hotel, it'll probably cover breakfast. Like if you have a Hilton Diamond or something like that, you'll get breakfast with that. IHG, I think their diamond level also gives you free breakfast, but depending on where you go. Again, one more thing to think of is if you're arriving in somewhere after midnight and you haven't booked a hotel, you can't book a hotel for that night you're arriving using the internet because the clock has already moved forward. So typically you'll have to call to try to book the rooms. What else I can tell you about the airport hotels? Most airports, like I said, will have them on property. So like if you go to Amsterdam, you have their hotels in transit. There's a Mercure inside the airport, but outside there's also Citizen and there is a Sheraton, and you can just walk. It's like literally the Citizens, you go outside and it's maybe 2 minutes. If you go to Oslo, I was in Oslo recently and I stayed at the Radisson, and there's three actually. I did the Radisson Blue, and that one was you just walk. It's like it was a 2 3 minute walk. It was very cold though. It seemed like it was a really long walk. When I went to the Faroe Islands, there are no hotels at the airport. The closest is a hostel, which is in like the next town over from the airport. So just research how you're going to get there and make sure that whenever you're going to get there, whatever time you're going to get there, you have you're able to get to the hotel, that you can get transportation. Some hotels will offer free shuttles, others they charge you for the shuttles. Like if you go to Gatwick Airport, typically the shuttle is like £5, and the shuttle will stop at different hotels. In Gatwick Airport, just for the edification, there's a Sofitel in the North Terminal, I believe it is, and in the South Terminal, there are two hotels. I can't remember the name of one of them, but it's right in the terminal, and that's also expensive and usually sold out. And the other one is one of those pod hotel, which is like a pod hotel. So it's good to book ahead. Although if you're flying space available, it's normally quite difficult for you to book ahead because you don't know if you're going to make a flight or not. But you need to be thinking about where you're going to stay. Like if you realize you're going to go to San Francisco and you get on the flight at the last minute and you're going to arrive after midnight, then what you should be doing is queue up the hotels that you want to stay. And as soon as you get a seat, you go ahead and book the hotel really quickly before the doors close. Or you might have to buy internet on board so you can book the hotel on the way. Some hotels, like the American Delta and Uniteds of the world, they will allow you to book without getting internet if you're connected to the Wi-Fi on their partners. So like Marriott is a United partner, so you can actually get to the Marriott website from the network, the United network. And also some airlines will give you free internet, like if you have T-Mobile or something like that, you'll be able to get free internet. So just kind of plan ahead a little bit about where you want to rest your head for the night. And at the hotel, if you see every hotel is expensive, and then this one particular hotel is not, there's a reason for it, right? So always make sure you check those. If you want to book a hotel, you can go to passrider.com/hotels, and that will give you a whole list of hotels that you can information about hotels. Or you can do passrider.com/hotels combined, and it's all one word, and that will go to our partner, Hotels Combined. But I'm also going to leave some links and a map inside this report if you see it online. But if you're not online, go to passrider.com/hotels. So if you have any more tips about finding and booking a hotel, finding and booking a hotel when you're traveling, feel free to email or drop me a line at feedback@passrider.com, or just leave a comment in the comment below. So that's all I have for this week. This is Kerwin with What's Happening in Travel with Christian and Kerwin. And have a good trip, and I'll see you next week.